Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Greatness Engineering Hour show, a show where I bring you champion people with a story of triumph. And today it's going to be the same. I'm bringing you an amazing woman. We're going to Cyprus, first time that we're going there for the show. So it's going to be amazing. We're going to discover a lot of things. It's all about change today. As you can imagine, with what's going on in the world with the pandemic, people have to look at change as, their daily, as a daily things that they need to integrate. So today we're going to go about change. And my guest is an amazing woman. Like I said, she has a lot of experience in the hospitality industry. She is the founder of Quality Focus, and she's also an international keynote speaker, motivational architect, and a certified vocational trainer. So a lot of experience, like I said, and without due notice, I will just bring her up and she will get the opportunity to introduce herself and talk to you. And please, have a pen, have a paper, and write down whatever you're going to learn today and implement it, please, because that's one thing, to take note and listen, but the key thing is to implement and also share, because this knowledge is not supposed to stay here. It's supposed to go all over the world. That's why this show is all about. Is about making sure people get, tools and strategies for them to go to the next level of their greatness. So don't go anywhere. We're starting, and I'm bringing my guest today.
Right? On memories. But as I got older, I started to be more aware of some of the abusive sides of
Welcome, Amani, to the Greatness Engineering Hour show. Such a pleasure to have you all the way from Cyprus. First time that we have somebody from Cyprus, so I'm really excited. And I know that, my audience is going to learn so much from you today. And especially we're going to talk about something that is really, of actuality, which is change, and really how people adapt to change. And that's why, I'm really eager to start this conversation. But before we go to that far, just want you to introduce yourself. Let us know who is Amani and all the key things that you've done so far that led you to today.
Hello, everyone. Greetings from Cyprus. And thank you, Mariella. It's really a pleasure and honor to be on your show. Thank you all for participating today. And at the moment in Cyprus, it's practically lunchtime. So I hope I open your appetite wherever you are in the world for what's about to come. My name is Amani Vernescu. Originally, I am Palestinian. I was born and raised in Kuwait. However, due to the Gulf War that happened between Kuwait and Iraq and we ended up in Cyprus as refugees. At the time, we lost basically everything, including my father, God rest his soul. And from there on, at the time, I was about 14 years old. And I went through a very, very deep journey when it comes to change. And there are two types of change. There is the type that people would see as a threat, and there's the type of change that people would see as an opportunity. In my case, I went through both. At a younger age, I went through the stages of seeing everything as a threat and automatically just shutting down and thinking, that's it, I have to close myself in a comfort zone, whatever that meant to me at different stages, at different age of my life. And at some point, there are different circumstances that make you start to see change as actually opportunity, especially when you go through a lot of changes and you start to see, okay, I've been trying to close myself up, I've been trying to stay safe, but however, whether I like it or not, change is constant, and we need to try and find a way to adapt. So from being a refugee and doing different jobs, starting with working in kitchens, cleaning houses, whatever I could get my hand on at the time, to right now owning my own company with international clients. I've been forced in a certain way. As I said, the war forced us to move from one culture of an Arab Muslim country to a completely different culture where it is more open, it's more European. And you can understand the cultural change there automatically for somebody who's 14 years old. It hits you really hard. So you try to adjust, and from there on, different obstacles came in the way, which also forced me to face a different kind of change, which meant also leaving my family home when I was 16 years old and being left on my own to fend for myself. That again, at 16 years old, when you're on your own, you have to try to adapt. And when your mentality was not allowing you to do something like this, because as I said, you came from a different culture, and all of a sudden at 16, you're alone, you're surrounded by different kind of challenges, predators, bullying, all sorts of things, then something inside you kicks in. And if you allow it to kick in and start to push through your own boundaries, then you're going to automatically come to a conclusion, which means change is constant.
Change is constant, and I love that, because when I listen to you, all the different steps that you have to go through, if you didn't embrace change, it would have been tragic, I mean, for you, because all those things were coming to you. But it's basically the mindset in which you basically embrace those things. It was not easy, but you embrace it. But as because 14 years old is quite young, so what was really the support system for you? Because I mean, I can't imagine a 14 years old just having to navigate all of this. So did you have any support system, and what was really the hardest for you?
Okay. I don't know back then. Of course, there was no access to internet, and I came to Cyprus with the knowledge of only one language, which is my mother tongue, Arabic. I didn't know English at all. So at the time, being in Cyprus, I didn't know if there was any kind of support system for cultural change and so on. It's not like today. At this very moment, today in Cyprus, and I'm proud to say, they have an organization that is called Hope for Children. Hopeful Children, they provide all sorts of support system, especially, such cases, especially migrants. There are a lot of, now with refugees, especially from Syria and many other countries, a lot of refugees came knocking on this door like we did more than 30 years ago. So for them, at this very moment, there is a very steady and very well organized support system. However, back then, there wasn't such thing. And coming from a country where back then Kuwait was not as open-minded as they are today. Today, they are incredible. I mean, they have opened so many doors for gender equality as well, which wasn't the case back then. And back then, coming to Cyprus was like, oh my God, what a whole new world. It was, wow, incredible. And I just wanted to experience all that, which because of the cultural change and for me, I wanted to experience that, although I don't want to get into that part regarding the family, but for the family, it was like, no, you have to stay home. It's different
Mm-hmm.
mentality and so on. You will just work, because all of us, we had to work at the time. We
Mm-hmm.
lost
Mm-hmm.
everything. We didn't
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
anything. So even at 14 years old, at the time, I remember I was working in 3 different jobs. And
Wow.
when something happens during that time, you'd be scared to go back home and tell your brothers about it, because you're
Mm-hmm.
afraid they're going to say, no, 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 the girl, we have to lock her back in. We
Mm-hmm.
have to
Mm-hmm.
protect our girl. So at that age, and unfortunately, you have predators, you have
Yeah.
people, pedophiles, and so on. So I remember there was this time that somebody offered me a job to work in a factory. This factory,
Mm-hmm.
right now, believe it or not, back then it was right across from the central police station of Cyprus.
Oh.
Yeah, it was in the basement of a 7th floor building. The
Mm-hmm.
basement is still there, but it's not a factory anymore. It was a small
Mm-hmm.
factory that used to make spare ribs, burgers, and all that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Disgusting place. If you look at it, I don't know how they were selling all that to supermarkets back then. It was a terrible
Mm-hmm.
place. In that particular place, my employer was paying me the equivalent of $13 per week, 8 hours work a day.
Wow. Wow.
I was
Wow.
14 years
Wow.
old.
Wow. Wow.
And he comes to me one day and he says, you know what? I want to give you, I'll make it $20 per week if you just
Mm-hmm.
let me fool around a little bit. I got so scared, I ran out of there, and I was afraid to tell my brothers why I could not work there anymore, because
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I was afraid they would have to shut me down. I
Mm-hmm.
had to get a job somewhere else, in at the back of a restaurant, where again the owner, I was still 14 years old,
Mm-hmm.
tried to do something to me from behind. Here I come from one culture where girls are super protected. All of a
Mm-hmm.
sudden, I'm at a culture where I felt like,
I can do
I don't know what
everything.
to do. I don't know how to react. So it was always, fight or flee, and I was always fleeing. I was always running away because I didn't know how to
Mm-hmm.
handle it like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Then it was a situation where you had to speak to boys for the very first time, because that was something a new change for us as well. It was not happening
Mm-hmm.
in Kuwait. Strange boys. So the family started seeing things with different eyes, and they decided, no, we have to shut her in. Maybe we should get her married. And at the time, they tried to get me
Mm-hmm.
married to somebody who was 56 years old.
Oh.
So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of things were happening. A lot of different kind of changes were happening, and including some domestic violence and so on, which kind of forced me to run away from home at the age of 16.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
at the age of 16, I left with the help of 2 neighbors from balcony to their balcony. We were living on the 3rd floor.
Mm-hmm.
And basically from there on, I had to go, and with the help of, believe it or not, a retired policeman, he took me to another place to stay with his mother for a while. But then somebody found out, and I had to run away again, because I
Mm-hmm.
would put him and his family in trouble. I ended up living on roof of buildings. It's a lot of things that happened during that period,
Mm-hmm.
which at some point, a manager at the Four Seasons Hotel in Limassol, his name was Sotos Diagos, he heard about my situation. He interviewed me and hired me on the spot. I was
Wow.
hired to work at the back of the kitchen at the time, and from there on to just polish some cutlery and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Until one day, the owner, the founder of the Four Seasons, the father, God bless his soul, Mr. George Muskis, was passing by. And we had this thing from our culture: when you're sitting and an older person passes by, you automatically have to smile and greet them. But you have
Mm-hmm.
to
Mm-hmm.
stand up. You get up. You don't talk to them sitting. And he was kind of impressed for my attitude with that. So he said, train her to bring her in the front in the restaurant and so on. So that was the beginning of that journey for me, working in the restaurants in the Four Seasons.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to say, it's all about culture that was built inside that particular hotel, the Four Seasons.
Mm-hmm.
They strongly believed, yes, we want people with diplomas, we want people with education and so on, but we also do understand that not everybody has the opportunity to have the blessings that we did and be sent to the
Mm-hmm.
best universities and so on. So they provided education within the hotel. They were
Wow.
providing free of charge seminars. You get also certificates and everything. And I remember when I first started working there, I was under the impression, I'm a refugee. There's nothing much I can do for my life. There's nothing much I can grow. Back in Kuwait, I was first or second in my class.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
My dad
Mm-hmm.
said, this was going to be a doctor. There
Mm-hmm.
were plans. But here I felt like nothing's going to work out for me. So I went through a mindset, which is at this very moment in the pandemic has hit so many people. The mindset so negative that you would think there's nothing I can do. And you just in your shell. But I had a manager that, God bless his soul, he was the hotel manager at the time, passed by and said, Amani, I see a lot of potential in you, but what's wrong with you? You're so lazy. You come to work late. We try to teach you something you don't want to learn. No matter what we do, it's like you're stuck in your shell. What is wrong with you? At the same time, there was another manager. Back then, he was a restaurant manager, Mr. Andreas Georgiou. He noticed that I would go in the staff canteen and I would always sit in one corner alone. I wouldn't speak to nobody. I would stay on my own. I was very shy at the time as well. Everything that happened to me before reaching the Four Seasons really made me create these walls around me that I have to be careful. I'm going to take care of myself and nobody else will. So, first of all, you had Mr. Andreas Georgiou, who's currently the manager of Amathos Hotel, the hotel manager. He calls me in his office and he spends 5 minutes of his time with me, talking to me, trying to ask me why I'm stuck in that shell, why I'm hiding all the time. And I said, I tried to speak to somebody, but nobody would talk to me. I feel like, it's a bit difficult. He said, what did you mean you tried to speak to somebody? Well, I sit in the staff canteen and nobody goes to sit next to me. So what can I possibly do? They don't want to come and talk to me. And he said, okay, let's try something. I want you every time when you go, take your tray with your food, find any empty seat, but not on an empty table. Find an empty seat where there's already somebody sitting there. Go over there and introduce yourself. Ask if you can sit there. Just do that. Do that and see what happens. And he was right. From a shy person, they couldn't shut me up. I was from one table to the other with like musical chairs for me from there on. Jumping from one chair to the other. But still, when it comes to doing my job, I was lazy. I was late. I was not doing things how it should be done. And that's when Mr. Tsariodis called me in his office. And he said, tell me, I see potential in you. What's your problem? Why don't you want to give it a try and work hard? We're giving you possibilities of seminars, but you're not attending any. What's the story? What's going on with you? And I said, Tsariodis, I'm a refugee.
Oh.
I tried to register to study. Yeah, I tried to register in a college to study. I wasn't allowed because I'm a refugee. I don't have documents. I tried to study something. Yes, some of the managers gave me some of their books, and after work, I would get the key from Mr. Andreas Security, who was the night security. After I finished work at midnight, he would give me his office, and I would study over there. And still, I don't see myself going anywhere. All your managers are locals. Everybody, any position in the hotel are locals. What's the point? And he said, I'll tell you the point. If you have no diplomas, don't worry. If you have no diplomas, but you care to advance, we will help you. If you have the best diplomas in the world, and you do not care to show us your potential, there's nothing we can do for you. So I give you 1 month. Take that 1 month and show me that you really want to advance. I want you to attend every single seminar that you're allowed to attend. I want you to come from the minute you start coming to work. Do you know what's the purpose of your uniform? The minute you put on that uniform, you step into a new role. Smile your stage. Everything that you do at that moment has to be focused on you showing that you're the best at what you could possibly do in there. Just show me that you are trying, and I'll provide you with education. And that's what happened. This is a culture that it kick-started by George Moskis, the father, and then his middle son, who also started from humble beginnings, just like his father. His father was not a rich man. He started from very humble beginnings in Saudi Arabia and worked his bones off until he opened a small factory. From that factory, he expanded in Cyprus and so on. So they opened this kind of door for me, and just like open it for every single employee that started working for them in the hotel. For 20 years, I worked for them. And Mr. Christos Moskis was the kind of person that, together with the cooperation of Mr. Andreas Luizou, the HR director, they have created that very, very strong culture, a culture that means you would have the opportunity to advance your education at the cost of the hotel. You would have the opportunity to advance your career. You show your full potential. You show that you are applying what you are learning in these seminars on your job on daily basis with consistency and authenticity, and they will open the doors for you. So I climbed the ladder starting from kitchen and polishing cutlery to working in every single department of the hotel with the exception of the cooking part. I'm still terrible at that, I have to tell you.
You cannot be good at everything. That's the
Not gonna be the next Gordon Ramsay, no matter what I try. I make excellent reservations, so they opened the doors, and once they opened the doors, I walked in. And every time they open one door, I do my best in order for them to see that thank you very much. And the more I show my gratitude, the more they open further doors until I became the quality control manager. Quality support manager, basically, where at the time my job was dealing with all aspects when it comes to quality. And with passion for quality, and this is the place where it got ignited at the Four Seasons, I learned something extremely important, which from there on, my whole career is based on that. If you ask them about me 20 years and Four Seasons, I was the kind of person that you tell me there is a change, I would throw a tantrum. I don't want to change unless it wasn't a promotion for me. I don't want to make any changes. I would block change until I get to learn that change is constant. How we react to it, it's up to us. Yes, it can feel like it's the end of your comfort zone, but if you loosen your grip and try to let go of that assumption that I'm good where I am, I'm comfortable, I'm doing well. If it's not broken, why fix it? If you break your own boundaries, if you start to think that, okay, who am I? Take one moment of pure clarity and ask yourself that one question. Who am I? Who am I really for the people I love? Who am I really for the organization I am part of? Who am I really for my clients? What is my value? What do I bring to the table? If you ask yourself and you self-evaluate, and self-evaluation is what builds your character. If you ask yourself and break it down honestly, what are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? What should I see as a true threat? And is it really a threat? Is change really a threat? Or is it an opportunity camouflaged? Is it an opportunity that if I manage to break through my own assumptions that this is who I am, this is where I am, this is the best I can do, I cannot grow any further. If I break through the assumptions of cultures and society that says, hey, you as a woman, stick to your lane. Just stay in your lane. You don't need to step outside your lane. Yeah, I agree. I'll stay in my lane. And I focused on staying on my lane, but with a different meaning. Stop looking at how green is the grass on the other side of the fence and focus on nurturing and watering your own grass. I stayed in my lane in that aspect. I stayed focused only in that aspect. If you automatically break down and see what are your strengths, what are your weaknesses, try to develop your own weaknesses. And appreciate every single obstacle that comes your way, every single change that comes your way, every single challenge that comes your way. Appreciate and be grateful that it came your way. Because at the end of the day, if there's one thing I really, really learned, the bigger the challenge and the bigger the lessons, the bigger the blessings. Provided that you stop looking at it as a challenge that's gonna push you out of something that's good for you. Yeah, of course, there are certain challenges when they hit you and certain changes when they come to you, automatically they will make you feel like failed. Oh my God, I failed. Tell me one person who hasn't failed at something. If you look at us when we were babies, when it's already infused in us at birth. When we were babies, before all the books and media and everything came in front of us, we were babies, we were crawling. The minute that we try to stand up on our own, we fall. Boom. We fall again. Boom. what is it? What is it that made us keep trying to stand up? Did you ever see a baby say, I'm going to try to stand up. I fall down. Did you see a baby that say, oh, the hell with it. This is not for me. I'll crawl for the rest of the month. It's a lot better for me there. Did you ever see a baby that ever behaved in such a way? A baby
No.
without knowledge, without experience, without diplomas, without anything that backs them up. The baby on their own, they stood up again and again and again. Baby steps led to running marathons. We have that already inside us, but we allow, unfortunately, we absorb everything from our surroundings, the positive and the negative. Yes, we should be like sponges in life generally, absorb from our surroundings, but we should also have a filter. Filter out anything that could interfere in our growth, interfere in our identity, interfere in anything that could help us take a step forward. And failure, the way I look at it, sorry, there's an expression that we have, a kick in the butt is a step forward. So
you have to be strong. You need those strong, image to push people to take action. So
yeah, but you see, that one kick in the butt does, the stronger the kick, the more forward you go. Emotions are significant drivers of our decision making. And it is extremely important for us to control our emotions. At this very moment with the pandemic, the biggest challenge everybody's going through, all the changes that are going on around us, they have created two main problems for all of us. For any industry, in the workforce, the biggest problems that everybody's facing is a negative mindset and the inability to adapt to change. This is the biggest problems we are all facing right now. And unfortunately, the more we stay in a negative mindset, it's like
becomes
a chain. It's like you willingly wear a chain around your neck that squeezing and squeezing and squeezing and automatically will lead to your own destruction. It's like you burn your own house to get rid of a mouse. A negative mindset is going to do this to you. If you can manage to control a little bit your mind, actually, there is, in 2005, there was a research made by Cornell University that discovered, statistically speaking, 85% of the things that we fear, 85% of the things that our mind are focused on and we are so scared of happening, 85% never really happens. 85%. Imagine 85% of your thoughts have drained you, have drained all your energy. You have put all your energy in the wrong percentage. 85% of negativity instead of pushing that around.
That's a lot.
If you
all
go
your
through
energy, all your energy is going toward this
towards the wrong
negativity.
thing. Can you imagine, Mirel? All your energy is going towards the wrong thing, the one thing that's going to lead to your own distraction.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. Now, if you actually start to look at change and think of taking 3 steps: evaluate, appreciate, in order for you to elevate. These 3 things are extremely important. These are pillars you have to have in your system, in your mindset. If you want to build a house, you can't start building a house from the roof. You don't get success right away. It doesn't happen to anybody. You just get success right away, unless you win a lottery. That's a different story altogether. But if you want to build a house, you have to start from the roof, from the bottom, from the foundation. You have to have a steady, authentic, strong foundation. And the foundation that you build everything on is your mindset. For you to have the right mindset, you need to build the right character. In order for you to build the right character, you have to consistently, steadily self-reflect and self-evaluate. In order for you to self-evaluate, you have to have that true, honest moment. It's just you yourself. That's it. At that moment, you have to ask yourself, as we said, your strengths, your weaknesses, but on daily basis, at the end of the day, I have a notepad next to, it's a ritual I have. I have a notepad in my bed, and it has different columns. One column has, at the end of the day, I note down all the opportunities that I missed. And
Mm-hmm.
opportunities, sometimes they don't knock on your door twice.
Mm-hmm.
So I note down all the opportunities I missed. I also note down all the people that I might have been unfair to and what action I should take accordingly for the opportunities and the people that I might have been unfair to.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people, we say when you allow your ego to get in the way of saying sorry, your ego
Mm-hmm.
becomes your worst enemy. People will love and respect you so much more. You will gain their trust when you do apologize.
Mm-hmm.
What's the worst that can happen when you apologize? That somebody might reject your apology?
Yeah.
So what? Your conscience is clear, your mind is
Mm-hmm.
clear, peace of mind. At least you know you did that step forward. So you have that. Once you have point written down the opportunities that you've missed, the actions you should take, the people that you need to apologize to. Sometimes these people will actually give you the best support possible once you
Mm-hmm.
apologize to them. Then you have another column that has to do with what is the priority for me to take action on from all these bullet points that I have written down.
Mm-hmm.
What is that I need to take the first step? And there's the expression eat the frog. There are sometimes things that you really don't want to do,
Mm-hmm.
really don't want to do. But if you do that first, get it out of the way, your self esteem, your on confidence in yourself, all of a sudden you get an extra boost.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can tackle the other tasks that you have in there.
Yeah.
I also write down 3 things that I should feel really appreciative of on that day. What am I grateful for today? Once you note down what you're grateful for today, it's one of the biggest steps to help your state of mind to go towards the positive
Mm-hmm.
and divert those 85% of negative into positive. When you start to think of how grateful you are for certain things, it really cleanses you inside.
Mm-hmm.
Once you start noting down what you're grateful for, then you're at the right track to start elevating. When you're taking the right actions, you're not missing the opportunities. When you feel gratitude, your main focus becomes on the good things in your life rather than the negative part of what's going on around you.
Mm-hmm.
If you look around right now, unfortunately, everybody's focused on I've lost my business. Has my business been affected? Oof, big time,
Yes. Mm-hmm.
big
Mm-hmm.
time. But am I the only one? No, no. I'm
Mm-hmm.
part of the same pond that everybody's in. But am I going to sit and cry? Yeah, I've been there, done that, has not done anything except give me some wrinkles. It's kind of
It's not gonna move. It's not gonna change anything anyway.
it doesn't.
So you might as well try something.
Exactly. Am I scared? Like all of us. Yes, I'm very
Mm-hmm.
scared. But there is a technique that calms down your nervous system, and it's actually used by Navy SEALs. It's
Mm-hmm.
called the 478. It's a breathing system.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever you feel anxious and anxiety, we all know what it can do to your heart. And you know how many people ended up suffering strokes and, God
Mm-hmm.
forbid, heart attacks because of anxiety and stress.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever I feel that is about to hit me, and I always do the 478 breathing technique to calm down my system, which means you take a deep breath on a count of 4,
Mm-hmm.
you hold it in, counting to 7, and then you breathe it out from your mouth steadily, counting to 8.
Mm-hmm.
You can repeat that as many times as, for me, it works after 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
The more you do that, the more you're able to relax and calm down your nervous system. Now, when it comes to change,
Same.
we have to keep remembering our situation is not going to get better by chance. It's not
Mm-hmm.
going to get better on its own. If you do not learn to adapt to the changes, if you do not learn to embrace the changes that are coming, good or bad, if you do not just learn to embrace it, you're going to be left behind. Everything
Mm-hmm.
around you will advance and you're going to stay behind. So it's a choice.
Mm-hmm.
Repeat or
Get left behind.
You either repeat the same things that are happening to you, or you start
Mm-hmm,
making changes.
mm-hmm,
You
mm-hmm,
repeat the same mistakes, you stay where you are. You start making changes, you elevate.
mm-hmm. That's very powerful, and I really like, it's always a choice, and that's something that I always repeat to people. Whatever happened to you, it may be dramatic, but it's a choice. You choose to be a victim, or you choose to use it to
Exactly.
optimize and get to the next level. And I like greatness. Get to the next level of your greatness. You're still alive. You still have an opportunity. You have to take this chance and use it, to go somewhere higher. You can't stay where you are. You're gonna die. So that's really, very important to stress out. So we can have a small break, and we come back, and continue this conversation, this amazing conversation. I really like it because it's really on point, with everything that is
Thank
happening,
you.
all the
Thank you.
negativity. It's good to have this positive message, and share those strategies that you use to be able to help, some of the listeners who are actually very negative right now, very, who don't see the light, so that they understand that, you can be, stressed, you can be in a bad situation, but you have the choice. You have the choice to change your mindset and look for the positive things in your life, and be grateful for it. So that's a key one. So don't go anywhere. We will be back with Amani, and continue this amazing conversation.
Thank you. Nice way to look at it. Lady with a beautiful green dress. That's peanut butter, huh? What do you see?
So we are back. We are back with Amani, and we are learning so much from her. I hope you have your pen and your paper, and it must be full already. Your paper must be full of strategies, because she shared so much. And my question right now, I mean, you've beautifully, explained to us the process of, elevating ourselves, appreciate, and then go to the next level. Right now, with what's going on, with the pandemic, and then the hospitality, industry being really, affected negatively, what have you done to elevate yourself concretely, and, and where, in terms of professionally, um, what's your position right now with what's going on?
Okay. Before the pandemic, I'm ashamed to say that when it comes to technology, I was terrible.
Mm-hmm,
Emphasis on the word terrible. So, one of the things that was extremely important for me, as I said, you have to adapt or get left behind.
mm-hmm,
One of the most important things was for me to move all my work online. So, I used to do seminars for companies in hospitalities. I mean, basically, after 30 years in the hospitality industry, you can pretty much say that hospitality is in my DNA. So, hospitality seminars were not only provided to hotels, they were provided to several companies everywhere, basically, where is a customer-employee interaction, direct interaction. So I would go to on the premises of these companies or hotels, and I would do the seminars there, whether in Cyprus or internationally. Now all my seminars, I had to adjust and do everything online. I also do management consultancy for the hospitality industry. So again, all that had to move online. It used to be, B2B, B2C. Now is edge to edge, the human to human connection that we all took for granted all these years. Now it's more important more than ever. We cannot do it face to face at this very moment. And for a lot of us, their strongest suit is the human contact, face to face communication. And you had to adjust and learn how to do all that through the lens of a camera. So that took some time to practice and get used to. The same thing with the coaching. I do online coaching as well now. Again, had to be online. Everything that I used to do, including public speaking, had to go online. So that's one part. Secondly, you know what they say, there are certain things that you've always wanted to do and kept on looking for excuses why you can't do them. So I'm looking at the bright side of this pandemic. Taking into consideration that a lot of the seminars that I used to do, which used to take most of my time back then, and with traveling and all that, a lot of that cannot be done right now because the hotels are closed. A lot of hotels are closed. So for many hotels, they can't bring the staff in to go through the seminars. And a lot of them don't know when they're going to open. A lot of them don't know if they're going to open. A lot of other companies, the same thing. They have no idea about their operation, what's going to happen later on. So a big chunk of that business got lost. For years, I had a lot of people that were telling me that I should write a book. So I took this opportunity this time for me to start writing the autobiography. So I started writing this book about, it's a lot of things that happened to me, especially the first 20 years of my life. And a lot of things that I never shared publicly. However, I'm writing this book not for fame, but for freedom. I just wanted to get this out of my system.
Get it out, yeah.
Yes, but also there is something that I believe in strongly, pay it forward. Yes, I did have a lot of predators, bullies, and situations as such, but I also had a lot of good Samaritans in my life. So I'm writing this book also to start using it as a platform for public speaking, part of the public speaking. There are a lot of girls, a lot of women in many cultures that are going through similar things at the moment. And a lot of them are, because of society and the pressure of family and so on, they believe that this is it for me. I just have to put up with it, shut my mouth, and just move on with my life. I have to get married at a young age. Sexual harassment is happening. I have to just take it and shut up. I have a member of my family beating me up. My mother went through it. My grandmother went through it. Who am I to think differently? I have to go through it as well. I am 14 years old. I'm 16 years old. I have to get married to a much older man because my brother said so. I have to do it. You have a member of your family touching you inappropriately. I have to be quiet so that I don't bring shame to my family. No, you don't have to. You have a voice for a reason. So I'm going to be using that as a platform. Already I've had different non-profit organizations that have gotten in touch with me. And especially in Arab countries, I've traveled and have spoken to different organizations. They've organized some conferences for that, some seminars regarding the subject to violence against women in general and gender inequality. I have to say, in Cyprus, I'm blessed because I live in a country that, yes, there is an issue like everywhere else in the world when it comes to gender inequality. we're also blessed because there are a lot of men of quality, and
Mhm.
men of quality do not fear gender equality. And I worked again for 20 years in the Four Seasons, where I have to say that when it comes to that particular subject, they do not discriminate.
Mhm.
Diversity goes number one for them. Yes, you do have bullies everywhere you go. In any work environment, there's always going to be somebody, but they're not the norm.
Mhm.
They're actually
Yeah.
the minority.
Mhm.
And in Four Seasons, part of their culture, if you're a woman, if you're a man, it doesn't matter to us.
Mhm.
If you're Muslim, Christian, Jew, it doesn't matter to us.
Mhm.
We don't care. We care about the set of skills that you can bring to our organization.
Mhm.
And of course, they don't hire people only based on what sort of diplomas they have. They have not been, I'm talking about the 20 years I worked there. I don't know the
Mhm.
situation. I'm talking only about the
Mhm.
20 years. And I cannot talk about my other customers because it would be unfair to single out one or two out of there. I'm talking about Four Seasons because I worked there for 20 years.
Mhm.
Now, during those 20 years that I worked over there, that's something that they were adapting to change, but they were not only adapting to change when it hits them, they were adapting to change before it actually hits them.
Mhm.
And take renovations, for example. They would always make sure that everything is nice and fresh and renovated before it falls apart.
Mhm.
So, when it comes to the hospitality industry, all businesses have been affected.
Yeah.
So you need to try to find ways in order for you to not be left behind. With the hospitality industry, all the hotels right now are trying to look for ways in order for them to try to look at it this way. All the privileges the five-star hotel customers
Mhm.
selecting hotels based on how this hotel is going to pamper and spoil them, all these things, extras that a hotel used to provide, right now they feel like they are forced to strip them away and look for
Mhm.
new ways to gain their customers, to keep their loyalty.
Mhm.
Because of this virus, it's not easy to provide all these things in the room that you used to pamper your customers with.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
everybody has to try to find ways to adapt. And as you are trying to adapt, don't focus on one source of income. It's good to start to dip your feet in other areas as well.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
said, right now, there's this book that I'm working on. I don't look at it as a source of income. I look at it as paying it forward, as trying to help some other women that are going through similar situations.
Mhm.
So this book as well will be a big percentage of any profits coming into that will be given to such nonprofit organizations.
Mhm. 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 And that's the story, is that, time is never wasted. Whatever happened, you have to find a way to use your time, to get something. And you can't just sit and cry, like you said. You have to find an opportunity, you have to innovate, you have to be creative, you have to collaborate, find the people who can actually do something with you, or maybe help you to develop something that you started, and now that you can't really run because, yeah, because of the pandemic. But just look for, and I always tell people, just look for this small opportunity, even if it's a small one, that will actually help you to make a baby step, because
This
you
is
don't
very
want to you don't want to stay at the same level. Even the small opportunity will get you to the next level, and then you'll at this level you'll find another opportunity that will, help you to keep moving, because otherwise you just get stuck, and then that's the end. You not only lose your business, but you lose your soul as well, and that's not very healthy to have. So, I mean, it's, you've been doing so much, and now you have this book that you're writing to really give a voice to women who don't have a voice, who are going through what you went through when you were younger. So what's really the legacy for you that you are working toward? What is your big why, and that is really pushing you, and then when you fall, that's actually pushing you to stand up and keep going?
As I said, emotions are significant drivers of decision making. And at different stages of my life, the emotions that were pushing me forward were kind of changing.
Mm-hmm.
When I was a teenager, the emotions that were giving me the push were fear. I was just scared all the time. I was scared of, first, oh my God, if my family will find me, what they're going to do. Then I was, the night after I ran away, it was also being scared of, oh my God, where am I going to live now?
Mm-hmm.
I have to move from this roof building because the somebody came and found me, so I have to move to another building and so on. I did have some people that were good Samaritans that helped me out, and particularly there is one Serbian woman that ended up giving me a job in her bakery. I was about almost 16 at the time. She gave me a job in her bakery, and then she taught me how to be a secretary in the office in the morning and in the bakery in the afternoon. It's actually the same place where I met my best friend, childhood friend of 30 years, Maya. We grew up together, and we also grew up together in the hospitality industry. The emotions of fear, they unfortunately, a part of them stays with you for the rest of your life. Whenever a trauma hits you at a young age, it stays with you for the rest of your life. It's just that you get to learn how to manage it and how to minimize it as much as possible, not to be the focal point of your life. At a later stage, the why for me became something else. Working in Four Seasons, it was the culture. The culture was pushing you this healthy competitiveness. You wanted to grow. It was the main why for me were two things. The owners have just opened one door for me. I want to show them that I am grateful. So I'm going to do my best to show them that I am really good at what I do. Then they open another door. And as you said, opportunity comes, a small opportunity, then another one, and it expands. They are the people that I owe my whole career to. They give me the foundation I built, and I continue to build the rest of the house on. They give me all the tools necessary to do that. So starting from there, the why for me was the competitiveness. And you said something extremely important. If you look at yourself as a victim, and this is one of my biggest mistakes when I was working in Four Seasons, I allowed, they say you're not responsible for the heartache and the difficulties and the obstacles you go through as a child. But as an adult, you owe it to yourself 100% to make a move and go forward, to advance in life. As a child, you don't have the tools. As an adult, you do have the tools. And my biggest mistake when I worked in Four Seasons, whenever there was a change, I looked at myself, as I said, that trauma from childhood made me look at myself as a victim. I constantly look, why is this happening to me? So unfair. Why is this happening to me? Constantly. When you're thinking of yourself as a victim, it's like you shoot yourself in the foot and that's it. You stay where you are. You can't advance. But the competitiveness was an extra why that was pushing me forward to go further. And there, I have to say, every single member of staff, every single manager contributed to my growth and development. Some because I would watch and learn from them. Some because they contributed directly to me, like Mr. Sotos Yakos, Mr. Christos Moskis, Mr. Andreas Luizo. These people contributed directly in my growth. And especially Mr. Andreas Luizo was the kind of person that will not tell you what your ears want to hear. He automatically gave me that slap, told me the words that I needed to hear to start searching for the real why inside. He gave me that slap with the kind of words that made me stop looking at myself as a victim. He gave me that, as I call it, the kick in the butt, and a big one that gave me the push forward to stop seeing yourself as a victim. and to start seeing yourself as, when you self-evaluate, you start to see yourself, you know what, maybe you are the aggressor. You're not the actual victim all the time. And I got to see that I was the case, and I gave the apologies where it should be, and so on. So the why from there was the competitiveness and the gratitude and trying to self-evaluate. And then the next why was in 2013, when, in order for every child to grow, you have to cut the umbilical cord to move on. So I left the Four Seasons and I started a new career. And the why for me there was, again, survival. You have received all the tools, you have all the necessary knowledge, but it's never enough. So there you go through the process of ask, A-S-K. A for appreciate, S for someone, K for knowledge. Appreciate someone knowledge, so you must ask. In order for you to ask, you have to learn before you earn. So I worked more on my education there. You cannot become an educator if you do not believe in the ongoing process of learning. Yes, books will give you a lot of knowledge, and I continue to study, but the best university is life. And there was a student that asked the teacher once, what's the difference between school and life? And the teacher said, school, you take the lessons first and then you go for the exam. In life, the experience is your exam, and that's how you take the lessons from it.
Fantastic. Powerful.
So at the end of the day, you just have to take everything that comes around you, all your surroundings, and remember, absorb from your surroundings, but remember to always filter out all the negativity, filter out all the toxicity, filter out. You know how it is? They say, if you want to start losing weight, let's say you have a couple of extra kilos, and thank God you can only see that part of my body. So you have a couple of extra kilos and you want to get rid of them. You cannot get rid of them without detoxing. You have to take out all the toxins from your system. The same thing, you want to have peace of mind, you have to detoxify. You have to get rid of all that state of mind that makes you feel like a victim, that makes you feel like, I just feel good where I am. If it's not broken, why fix it? Everything that society can put in your mind that can make you think you can't advance, you should just start focusing on yourself, focusing on why, as you said. Why do I need to take certain steps forward? What happens if I do not take these certain steps forward? How is it going to impact my life? And what's the worst that can happen? You win, congratulations, it's a step forward. You lose, congratulations, it's a lesson well learned.
Fantastic. I like the mindset, and it's, it looks simple, but you have to remind people. You have to remind people constantly that you have a choice. You don't have to, to always be negative. There's a choice. There's a choice of being positive as well, and really looking at being grateful for having this choice, and take action, because like you said, if you fail, you've learned. If it works, then you go to the next level. And what the failure is going to do is just maybe delay the process. But if you learn the lesson, you'll be there, you'll be advancing. So that's really fantastic. So we've arrived at the end of the show. It's been really enriching, and I hope the audience and everybody was gonna watch the replay agree with me. And so how do people connect with you? And is there anything that you want to share with the audience? Something that is happening, an event, a product? You talked about your book. So when is the book going to be out, and where can we buy the book? Because I'll be your first, your first customer, because your story is just so inspiring, and I really know that I'm going to learn so much by reading the book. So anything that you want to share?
Well, to be very honest, finally I'm going to be honest. So, the book is my main focus at the moment, because as I said, I strongly believe in, we are here on earth for a reason. So if you could contribute however you can to make somebody's life a little bit better. As somebody has done this for me, I would love to do that again also for the future for others. So at this very moment, one of the reasons why the book is taking me a bit low, I'm still on chapter 3.
Mm-hmm.
You know how it is. They say when you're writing a book, it's show, don't tell. You have, somebody's reading it, they have to step into your shoe. And when they're reading it, to feel like it's a movie happening around them and they can see it, they can feel your emotions. The problem is the mind is an incredible thing, and it has a way of shutting down a lot of things from the memory. So when I try to get into details of what I'm writing in that book, automatically a lot of my memory that has been suppressed starts to come forward.
Mm-hmm.
I write one page and I need like a week to recover. So
because I mean, because you start to relive it, and that's the problem.
Yes.
Yeah, so you need to be prepared emotionally to take
and then
it again.
Exactly, you have to try to readjust and not allow this to drain you and drive you back to the state of mind that you were in back then as a child. Although automatically, somehow, as you're writing, then you have like a fountain coming out of your eyes. You have tears in your body, and you're saying, "Oh, I could have done that before. I could have done this before. Why didn't I do this?" And a lot of things. It's like a tsunami of thoughts that are going through your mind. So you have to try to clear your mind a little bit with that. So that's one thing that I'm focused on. When it comes to what I would tell the audience, the last thing that I would tell you is this too will pass. Whatever it is that you're going through, remember, go back and think of one of the worst periods of your life and how you actually got over that. So will this. You will get over this. This too will pass. It might be dragging a little bit longer, but eventually it can't stay like this. It can't stay like this. And it's up to you in your mind how quickly you will be able to adjust to that. Just remember that. Yes, easier said than done, but practice makes perfect. Nothing is really perfect, but you can try to work towards that.
So you heard it. You heard it. This too shall pass. So don't be too negative, and don't be too don't challenge yourself in a way that's gonna destroy you. Just enjoy the process. Be grateful for whatever you have in your life. Be grateful for the small things that you have in your life, and for the people that you have around, and just keep going. It's gonna end at some point, but the change is here to stay. So anytime you're gonna have to go through change, and that's the lesson of today, is that you have to adapt to change and evaluate all the time. Appreciate what you have to elevate yourself at a certain point. Thank you so much, Amani, for this beautiful message and this beautiful show. We've learned so much, and I know that my audience will be really delighted to when they're gonna watch all of this. It's gonna be amazing. So thank you so much.
Thank you all for your time.
You definitely gave some appetite to us. I'm gonna go and eat after that as well, my dinner. So
I will raise the fridge right now.
So that's fantastic. Thank you so much. And we'll stay in touch anyway. I'll be waiting for when you announce the publication of your book, because I'm sure this is going to be powerful when I listen to your story and what you went through and how you managed to apply what you basically shared today. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
And bon appetit if you have to go.
Thank you so much. It's really a pleasure to be with you all today. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Markers.